The Renaissance promised rebirth in art, science, and humanism. Something deeper moved in the undertow. They called themselves the Oculists, a name weighted with enigma. An exchange of medical ideas hardened into a network pressing into society. Unlike famous luminaries, they preferred darkness and left almost no direct trace. They drifted behind curtains of power, guiding minds and policies without stepping into daylight ever. Quiet control. Their influence moved like an unseen hand through letters, initiations, and rituals. Meetings gathered in cloistered halls or moonlit gardens. Whispers carried revelations. They held knowledge we only begin to recover and understand today. Their story begins softly, almost invisibly, like accomplished magic. To know the oculists, start with the eye. Renaissance medicine often dressed guesses as truth. The eye inspired awe and fear in learned rooms. They claimed the eye opened a doorway into the mind. They mapped lenses and nerves, then mapped thought itself, step by step, page by page. Bold, unsettling. They studied light, vision, and perception with daring precision. It felt mystical. Their ideas bled into early psychology and challenged comfortable beliefs. They walked beyond anatomy toward a meeting of spirit and science. Know the eye, glimpse humanity's depths. Whispers trailed them through Venetian libraries and Florentine streets. Their legacy lived behind doors, not in public lectures. They worked the margins where ink seldom traveled. They were skilled in politics and pressure. Real power moved through quiet ideas and subtle policies. They nudged kings and clerics without leaving names. Networks crossed cities by courier and cipher, tying scholars to courts in careful knots everywhere. Invisible governance. Old letters and symbols hint at a guiding hand. Monarchs argued. Papal bulls appeared. Outcomes shifted. Celebrated anatomists basked in praise. The oculists worked deeper in shadow. They risked heresy with private dissections. They saw biology dance with psyche. Notes mapped folds and fibers with patience, then linked behavior to structure in daring sketches. Audacious work. To know a person, they studied the body entire, not parts, the whole. Faded records describe insights unknown to peers. Their secret studies advanced surgery and shifted ethics. They traced brain routes we named centuries later. Modern scientists still wonder at such foresight. Knowledge meant power to them. They guarded their hoard like sentinels. Access came by worth, not desire. Behind plain walls, hidden libraries waited. Shelves held forbidden tomes beyond uninitiated hands. Sunlight slipped through slits, dust swirling over leather spines and iron locks guarding memory closely. Hands off. Rumors spoke of catacombs and Andalusian rooms. A network wider than any academy. Codices blended procedures, alchemy, and esoteric doctrine. Some volumes reached for impossible truths. They hid them from the unready and the reckless. Doctrine pressed down on thought. The oculists resisted and protected evidence. They pushed against religious and political chains. Their moves were subtle, not loud. They built a culture of questions. Doubt became a tool for peeling ignorance. They shifted frames with tiny adjustments, redirecting experiments and debates across Europe for generations afterward. Quiet revolutions. Records show provocations woven through salons. Their silence often outweighed rebellion. In private, they leaned past accepted borders. Echoes carried into later centuries. They seeded the Enlightenment's method of inquiry and reason. Secrecy helped them and hurt them. It invited intrigue, and it invited betrayal. Breaches happened despite careful oaths. Curiosity pushed whispers past their walls. Each letter crossed parlors and borders. twisting futures in places they never visited at all. Consequences compounded. Insiders sometimes fed outsiders fragments. Power complicated every conversation. Some wanted to teach the world. Others chased gain from borrowed power. Revelations drifted to hands able to extend them. Leaks sparked movements and scientific excitement. Their influence lingered after their names vanished. They studied society like an organism. Structures revealed patterns beneath ceremony. Networks carried function, influence, and consent. Civilization behaved like interlocking systems. They mapped alliances like vessels and nerves, then proposed rights tied to human dignity everywhere. Blueprints shifted. They uncovered truths about hierarchy and governance. Biology informed their view of civic roles. Old roles cracked and changed shape. Ideas of liberty and autonomy emerged. Thinkers later used those insights. Careful steps still bent history. Public maps stopped at coasts and borders. The Oculists charted consciousness instead. They sought links between seen and unseen. They climbed mental summits at night, mapping thoughts like constellations across disciplined journals for years. Daring cartography. Philosophy met experiment in their rooms. This happened before psychology or sociology had names. They tested senses and stretched experience. Enlightenment was their compass. They built dialogues about perception and connection. Limits felt thinner after their work. Discovery meant aligning humans with a wider order. Dreamers followed. Rigid ages bred countercultures. The Oculists stood at the door. They sheltered thinkers labeled dangerous. Talent grew quietly under their care. They nudged apprentices to question measures, masters, and markets until new movements ignited across guilds. Fuses lit. Art and science carried their rhetoric. Uniformity cracked whenever creativity thrived. They backed potential in workshops and salons. Whispers became roars and seeded reforms. Their support fed incendiary ideas for better worlds. Resistance sprouted unnoticed, then transformed culture. They forged a language of symbols and allegories. It concealed intent and charmed the reader. Their letters carried double meanings for initiates. Sentences unfolded like dances, each step pointing elsewhere, for those who knew the old steps. Elegant armor. Secrets hid in poetry and playfulness. Meaning survived prying eyes and raids. Constraint became a workshop for invention. Ordinary phrases masked daring thought. They taught wisdom through condensed puzzles. Authority missed the code entirely. Minds opened behind metaphor. Behind secrecy stood people with daily lives. Doctors, philosophers, artists, and restless thinkers. They served society in daylight. They searched for wisdom at night. They balanced reputations and risks, moving carefully between court appointments and clandestine debates at midnight. Double lives. Footnotes preserve a few names. We glimpse duty beside private hunger. The enigma gains human faces. They made mistakes and mended ties. Charisma met conviction in their circles. Change needed such complicated souls. Their influence crossed centuries. Invisibility did not stop resonance. It fed innovation and revolution alike. Enlightenment minds caught their ripples. Timelines blur as prototypes become practices, and quiet notes become public doctrines for many fields. Threads connect. Reformers took courage and plans. Philosophers borrowed frameworks and questions. Ideas stitched themselves into modern life. Medicine matured along hinted paths from their archives. Creative social orders echoed their patterns. Today we trace that lineage. Obscure origins can leave lasting marks. We wonder where our obscurities lead. Now the oculists step from shade to outline. Their fingerprints sit in history's margins. They guarded unorthodox thought against suppression. Peeling back veils invites complexity, revealing currents that once seemed like coincidence to many readers. Patterns emerge. Recognizing them reshapes the story. No parades, no statues. They planted ideas in ready minds. Recognition without laurels feels apt. They offered a vision beyond clocks and calendars. Its echo lives in classrooms and councils. Illumination adds depth, not banality. We can finally see the shaping sinews. Our journey closes with their craft in mind, masters of concealment and perception. They shaped how we see body, mind, and society. Their mark remains subtle and deep. Borders of knowledge move only when we cross them, again and again, with steady courage. Veils lift, footnotes hold them, yet they matter. The dialogue they sparked still grows. Past insights keep guiding future paths. Their ethos urges openness and exploration. Honor the unknown. Keep looking. Their echo continues across time.